So Erin is writing a piece on generative AI code assist tools and would love to have some input from the group. So these are tools like GitHub Copilot, Sourcegraph's Cody, Amazon's Code Whisper, which I've never heard of before, Replit, Ask Cody, etc. First question, do you think this type of technology makes tech and technology in general more accessible or less accessible? I just feel like if I was learning, I mean, I'm always learning, but if I was starting out and I typed const something equals and Copilot spat out this whole function, I'd be like, what? I don't know if this is right or if it's what I need. But maybe if I was more naive, I'd think, yeah, that's exactly what I want. Like, you can't learn to code using generative AI tools, surely. A says, because I can generate code right now, but boy, oh boy, do I not know if anything is the right syntax. Exactly. You know when you get code like dictated to you or a task? For example, when I was setting up my stream, AAOA helped me a lot with moving between different scenes, but he just dictated it to me. We were short of time. Therefore, I don't really understand it. And so adding new things to the system has been a huge learning curve for me. And I think it's the same thing. Like if you don't go through a process and if you're just given stuff that may appear to work but might not be suitable, it might appear to make you look more productive, but are you really like assimilating that information? And that's my learning style. That's why I do what I do. Like if I read something or get told to do something, I have to know exactly what's going on and why. Say if I wanted to learn Python, maybe I could use Copilot to help me learn Python. Because you can like write comments in Copilot to say what you want the code to do in pseudocode, and then it can like create it. I've done that before with JavaScript, and I had to wangle it around. But then again, you still need that programming brain, the experience of knowing how to get from A to B in code, which is something you develop over time. So I think it might be a really good tool for productivity, for pair programming. Say if you've got a senior programming with a junior, you're using Copilot whilst you're pair programming, you can talk about the output of Copilot and whether or not it's suitable, or it gives you like a talking point. But if you're on your own as a beginner, it can give you a lot of wrong answers. I think the statistic is that like Copilot is correct in like 30% of cases. And that's not helpful when you're just like learning. Next question. Does this increase the need of developers or decrease the need of developers? Does having software development as a skill become more or less valuable? Now, I have to say things on this. Developers are solving human problems. Generative coding assistance tools do not have empathy. They are not equipped to solve human problems. They are only equipped to suggest a bit of code that might help solve that problem, but it might only do that in 30% of cases. No code is ever perfect, is it? There are so many ways to do one thing. I use Copilot now. I was like dead against it for a while, but like I have enough experience to know whether what Copilot is suggesting me is going to be right or not, or what I need. In my head, I know what I'm going to write, and what Copilot saves me the time of is actually writing it sometimes. And a lot of the time I do have to correct what Copilot gives me, but it kind of gives me a starting point. But at the same time, is it more productive? I don't know. So I don't think coding tools increases or decreases the need of developers. Does having software development as a skill become more or less valuable? Software development as a skill becomes more valuable. Experience as a software developer becomes more valuable. That gives you the skills and experience to discern the output of these tools, to know if it's suitable for your use case. Koyogi says, the thing is, we're at the beginning of the curve of these tools. They solve the low-hanging fruit, but that will expand. That's also a very good point. There is progress to be made. Ian says, I've seen some junior devs use ChatGPT and Copilot while not learning the fundamentals. That's the thing. There's this fake kind of false sense of productivity when you're just starting out. I'm writing so much code because I'm using ChatGPT and Copilot. A lot of people are judging productivity and judging success by lines of code. But what does that even mean? I mean, you saw what happened when I tried to create websites in one prompt and deploy them using ChatGPT. Terrible. I'm a terrible prompt engineer. And that's another skill in itself. So we've already got coding as a skill. And then we've got using generative AI code assistant tools as a skill. And then we've got prompt engineering as a skill. So actually, it's not just about writing code and building products anymore. There's like a lot more to learn. And don't get me started on actually the amount of stuff there is to learn in the web world anyway. The speed at which browsers are getting new CSS features, or the speed at which new languages are developing and new ecosystems are developing and new tools for this, that, and the other, and JavaScript frameworks. Don't even get me started on that. So you've got all of that world with modern web development and modern web languages and ecosystem tools that are must-haves and must-use. And then you've got other tools on top, whilst knowing how to engineer a prompt very well if you want to be productive and use these tools. I sound like a boomer, but this stuff's tricky. Biggest helps of these tools, I mean, it creates conversation. Good for boilerplate code, I guess. It's good for pair programming, I think. What should folks look for when evaluating these as a possible solution? I don't know. What do you think? I would say accuracy, but you can only gauge accuracy once you start using it. Look for your use case and if it's been trained on your language. That's a good one. So anyway, Erin, I hope that was useful. Maybe I'll make a YouTube video out of this conversation. Good chat.